First of all, welcome today. I'm very sorry about the delay we've had. We've had a bit of technical issue, but we're off today. For those of you watching the recording, welcome. For those of you here today, welcome. Today, we're really excited to be here for the launch of this really exciting report. Talent Has No Borders, creating connections for refugees and other displaced people to decent livelihoods. And this is co-hosted by Finchurch Aid and NAML. To open the discussion about the challenges that refugees face when accessing the digital economy, I am pleased to introduce you to two of the NAML team, Sonia, the program manager, and Abdi, the tech lead. And they will talk about the challenges that refugees face and how we contextualize these within the programs that are run and how we can address these challenges. So Sonia, over to you.
Hello everyone, it is a pleasure to see everyone here today. Can you guys hear me well? Okay, great. So my name is Sonia, I am the program manager at NAML, and there are indeed definitely many challenges when facilitating refugees' access to digital work. But there are also ways to tackle these challenges. And today I will present some of these challenges and I will refer back to the experience we have with the programs at NAML. First, just to give you a very brief overview about NAML. NAML provides refugees and other underrepresented communities training in marketable skills with a focus specifically on the human soft skills required in the global labor market. And our end goal is to link our talent to dignified digital remote work. At NAML, we have run various training programs globally, regionally, and country-specific. The most recent ones that we just concluded are in Kenya and in Ethiopia. In Ethiopia, we trained 30 refugees and Ethiopians in collaboration with Digital Opportunity Trust to become successful full-stack web developers. And in Kenya, we trained 63 refugees and Kenyans to become successful remote workers. So throughout our programs, we have encountered several challenges which we were able to address in various ways. And the first challenge is related to having access to the right infrastructure. So for refugees to be able to work remotely, they need to have access to the right infrastructure. And this means stable internet connection and access to a personal laptop or a computer. And I want to emphasize the importance of having a personal laptop because this only strengthens the data security that anyone working online needs to have. For instance, in NAML, we are partnering with Appen. If you don't know, Appen is a global generative AI data annotation company to provide refugees with remote work experience through micro-work paid projects. However, for the refugees to work on the Appen platform, it is a requirement for them to use a personal laptop. Why? Because the Appen system can often flag share IPs as a consequence of the shared laptops. So having a personal laptop is really, really important. Now, thankfully, for the program in Ethiopia, we managed to secure laptops and data bundles for all our refugees. However, for the program in Kenya, many of them didn't initially have the right infrastructure. However, thanks to our partners Give Internet and Appen, we were able to secure data bundles and laptops for the majority of the talent. And here I want to highlight that there are various organizations and companies around the world who can support with the right infrastructure if the partnership is made in advance. But having the right infrastructure is really, really crucial, especially when it is about data security. Now, another big challenge is the possession of the required documentation. And this is very much linked to the payment methods when refugees need to get paid. As you might know, there are two types of ID cards that refugees have, the refugee ID card and the refugee manifest. And both of them come and imply various challenges. In the case of the refugees who were successfully onboarded on the Appen projects at NAML, they were required to open a Pioneer account in order to be paid. And initially, we faced many issues as the refugee ID card wasn't accepted by Pioneer. However, after continuous advocacy done by the APEN team and the NAMAL team, Pioneer ended up accepting the refugee ID card as a valid documentation in their system. Yet there were still learners who only had the refugee manifest, who was unfortunately not accepted by Pioneer. And in this situation, we reached out to other institutions in the specific countries who helped us issue work permit IDs that were thankfully accepted by Pioneer. So having the right documentation can be quite challenging, but there are ways to tackle it. Now, besides these two significant challenges related to the right infrastructure and the right documentation, there is one more aspect I would like to highlight, and this is both a challenge and an observation. I often notice that soft skills are undermined when it comes to preparing for remote employment. And sometimes people have the impression that it is enough to have strong technical skills in order to be hired. However, they miss the very important aspect of having professional behavior. And this entails knowing how to write a professional email, knowing how to manage the time, keeping track of multiple tasks and responsibilities, knowing how to communicate effectively, how to work in a team, how to step up as a leader when this is needed, the importance of always showing up on time, and how to be proactive in various situations. And I will quote one of the trainers who once shared something really important in one of our workshops. He said, "I didn't get my first job because of my technical skills. I got my first job because of my soft skills." So training displaced talent to master the professional soft skills in the remote work context is extremely important. But how do you do that? Because teaching refugees, and not only refugees, actually anyone else, teaching them soft skills can be quite challenging. The training programs at NAMAL consist of three main pillars: the soft skills training, the mentorship, and the remote work experience. And all of them are equally important in enabling refugees to develop their professional skills. But here I want to highlight that even beyond these three main pillars, it is the kind of interaction that the implementation team has on an almost daily basis with the refugees. And this is shown in the kind of emails we are sending to them and the feedback we give to the refugees on the email they send back to us, the one-on-one conversations we have with them when they don't show up on time for the workshops or for the meetings with their mentors, and the level of proactiveness we expect them to have when they need to get onboarded on APEN and when they need to work on various projects we have as part of the NAMAL agency. And this full package and the level of detailed support we provide through our regular programs really makes the difference. Also noting something very important here, that our programs are long, from 6 to 9 months or even more. And they are long because it takes time to model the behavior we want our learners to emulate. So training refugees to develop their professional soft skills is a must, it is a requirement, but it takes time to do that. And it takes a lot of effort and energy, but if it is done in the right way, there will be a lot of positive outcomes out of it. Now, I mentioned something about NAMAL agency, and I would actually like to give the floor to my colleague Alpha today on the call with us to talk about the reason why we created NAMAL agency, how this works, how it is related to the remote employment for displaced talent, and what are the challenges we experience here as well. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Sonia. Alpha, over to you. Alpha, can you hear us? No, Alpha, we can't hear you. And your camera is switched off. Okay. Alpha's just messaged me that his app has crashed. Today isn't a good day for teams. So perhaps whilst we're waiting on Alpha, maybe we can swap the order. Shooting, do you want to go first to talk about the findings of the research? And maybe before Shooting, I will say this has been a very long process, the development of this report. We went through several iterations. The first iteration, and then Shooting took over to sort of create a new updated report after it was first done a couple of years ago. Some of the authors unfortunately couldn't be here today because of the time difference, but Sonia, Shooting, and I are some of the authors, and the others are not here today. So Shooting, over to you to talk about the findings.
Okay, good day, everyone. I warmly welcome you to this report release webinar. My name is Shooting, and I'm one of the authors of this amazing report. It is my pleasure to share with you the key findings and insights from this comprehensive study.
Hello, can anyone hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Let's
awesome.
Alpha, let's Shooting go, and then we swap the orders. You'll go after.
Yeah. Okay, so in the next few minutes, I will provide an overview of the research context, the potential of the digital livelihoods, our research methodology, key findings, implications, and recommendations. So let's begin by understanding the context of a study. The global displacement crisis has reached unprecedented magnitude, with over 100 million individuals forcibly displaced from their homes, and refugees encounter significant obstacles in accessing employment opportunities, which impedes their ability to reconstruct their lives. However, the rapid expansion of digital economy has presented new avenues for refugees to engage in digital livelihoods, and this development has prompted us to investigate the current landscape of digital livelihoods for refugees. And to gain a thorough understanding of the digital livelihood landscape for refugees, we employed a comprehensive research approach. We conducted a scoping study examining existing initiatives and programs that support refugees in accessing digital work opportunities, and we interviewed key stakeholders, including organizations providing support, companies employing refugees remotely, and refugee workers themselves. So this approach allowed us to gather valuable insights and fresh experiences from various perspectives. And our research has yielded several significant findings that shed light into the current state of digital livelihoods for refugees. Firstly, we discovered that a variety array of stakeholders, including international organizations, NGOs, social enterprises, and private sector companies, are actively contributing to the advancement of digital livelihoods for refugees. And these stakeholders collaborate to foster a thriving digital employment ecosystem by providing training, resources, and platforms that engage refugees to help them acquire digital skills and access remote work opportunities. And secondly, our study identified various initiatives that have been developed to surmount the barriers faced by refugees in development in digital employment. So these initiatives address the limited right to work that refugees often face in host communities through innovative approaches, such as engaging employers of record or hiring refugees as contractors. And they also tackle payment challenges caused by financial exclusion and assisting refugees in opening bank accounts or utilizing fintech platforms like Namo did, shared by Sonia just now. And moreover, these initiatives establish recognition mechanisms for refugee skills and credentials, such as digital credentialing systems and network-based trust building. Thirdly, while digital livelihoods are often perceived as a convenient solution, our research revealed that several challenges persist. inconsistent employment opportunities with a scarcity of entry-level positions and the mismatch between refugee skills and market demands pose a significant obstacle. And infrastructure and connectivity issues, particularly in refugee camps and remote areas, hinder refugees' ability to participate effectively in digital work. And there is regulatory uncertainties as well, especially the right to work and legal status of remote employment for refugees create ambiguity and potential risks. And furthermore, upskilling programs for refugees are often fragmented, lacking coordination and long-term support. So lastly, our finding emphasize that collaboration among programs and organizations is paramount for maximizing impact. So siloed initiatives and duplication of efforts limit the overall effectiveness of digital livelihood interventions. So a comprehensive employment approach tailored to the unique needs of refugee digital workers is essential. Especially we need to take in account their specific skills, aspirations, and challenges. And sustained support, including mentorship, ongoing training, internships, and access to professional development opportunities, is crucial for the long-term success and retention of refugee digital workers. So by fostering collaboration, sharing best practices, and leveraging collective resources, organizations can create a more cohesive and impactful ecosystem that empowers refugees in the digital economy. Based on our findings, we have identified several implications and recommendations. So to create a more cohesive and impactful ecosystem, it is crucial to foster collaboration and knowledge sharing among initiatives supporting refugees in digital employment. Furthermore, developing comprehensive employment approaches that address the diverse needs and aspirations of refugee digital workers is essential. This includes providing tailored support, training, and opportunities. Sustained support such as mentorship, ongoing training, internships, and access to networking and professional development opportunities is vital to ensure the long-term success and retention of the refugee digital workers. And lastly, engaging with employers and industry sectors to create pathways for refugees to connect with job opportunities and succeed in the digital marketplace is of utmost importance. In conclusion, this study underscores the potential of digital livelihoods in empowering refugees and promoting their economic integration. By fostering collaboration, providing comprehensive support, and engaging with key stakeholders, we can create a more inclusive and equitable digital economy that benefits both refugees and host communities alike. So I highly encourage you to read the full report for more details, insights, and recommendations. Thank you for your attention and participation today. If you have any questions or would like to engage further with our research, please don't hesitate to reach out to us.
Thank you, Shooting. Really exciting about the report. And actually, this new order actually works best. Now we will hear from Abdi about one solution, one way that we've come up to address some of these challenges of sustained long-term refugee employment. So Abdi, over to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Lorraine. Thank you, everyone, for being with us here today and for the launch of this really important report. My name is Abdi Ambari. I am the Tech and Communications Lead at NAMAL. I have also been heading up technical operations within the NAMAL agency. Well, the NAMAL agency it is an arm of NAMAL that has adopted an agency model to more effectively connect our talent, our displaced talent, to remote work opportunities. We started operations around August, and so far we've completed several projects of large scale to medium scale effort. On a global scale, we've had projects in the UK, we've had projects and other places in Europe, as well as some projects within Africa. Now, some of the challenges that we faced the reasons why we formed the NAMAL agency is there are multiple reasons, and one of the primary ones was we kind of noticed the shift that was coming within the global employment space, especially post-COVID. where we expected a lot of disruptions within the market, and that consequently meant that we couldn't really rely on partners to promise us work and kind of expect that to kind of reliably be met at the end of our programs. And so we needed a way to kind of instantaneously keep getting projects like as they arrive. Projects as they arise in order to link our talent to projects that are kind of current and for opportunities that are existing, or that kind of relying on more long-term projected employment. And another reason why this was such a necessary organ to be formed was also for the quality assurance of the work that we connected our learners to. It provided us through the current NAMAL agency model. We have a lot of visibility on what the work is, who the client is, what kind of conditions will our talent be working in, and in that way we're able to guarantee fair pay for our learners, non-exploitation of our learners and their talents, as well as like proper relationship building between our learners and our clients in ways that serve the learners' futures, as well as our clients' brands as well. Another major reason why we thought the agency model would be a really, really great tool was the partners that we were able to form. We formed a partnership with EqualReach, which is an impact sourcing hub that connects us to work opportunities from organizations that want impact-led teams or impact-focused teams to execute their technical projects. Taking a step back and providing a brief overview of what the kind of projects that we do within the NAMAL agency, whereas we are geared towards digital, kind of remote-ready digital skills and also skills that our talent has been trained in. And that includes front-end development, back-end development, full-stack development, as well as digital marketing, which includes graphic design, UI, UX design, and other elements within the graphic design space. Now, through EqualReach, we're able to access a lot more clients who are interested in the talent that we have within the NAMAL network, as well as the mission that we kind of hold going forward with our organization and with our mission. Now, while we've experienced a lot of success, including the first project that we ever launched within the NAMAL agency, a very large-scale project that required us to build a system to serve the entirety of the UK in ways that resemble the Uber app, but in ways that are more catered towards sustainability assessments of physical business locations. The client was so happy with this initial project that we were able to get like multiple other projects lined up just from this singular project. So as you can see, we have experienced some success and a lot of customer satisfaction with what we've done, but there has been a lot of challenges that we have experienced in the formation and establishment of the agency, and as well as in the execution of these technical projects. One of the biggest challenges has been matching the proficiency level of our talent to the technical proficiency level needed for the project. Our big emphasis we have within the agency is that every work experience that we give the learner also be a learning experience. Whatever kind of skills they had coming in, be it within web development or graphic design or whatever, want them to leave with something extra, be it the knowledge of like how to work with a client, but also technically, is there something else that you've picked up that is going to help you along in your career? Now, how we've kind of addressed it, and because that is a huge focus, sometimes the projects that we accept are projects that fit exactly within the scope of what our talent can do, with an added twist that we kind of need to prepare our learners for. And what dealing with that has looked like is kind of providing resources for our learners to learn or fill these technical gaps while they're executing these projects, making sure that we have an ear to the ground in what the learners are experiencing and what they feel are difficulties, and being sure to collect as much resources as we can. And these resources have looked like providing them courses or connecting with the right professionals within the NAMAL network, even more expansively outside the learners network. And these are just some of the ways in which we have gotten our talent to meet the proficiency level and deliver the product that the client kind of intends us to deliver, despite the fact that initially it might have been about the scope of what they were able to deliver. Another big challenge has been that a lot of our learners do not have a lot of experience engaging with clients in the work that they do. A lot of them have come from training programs. They have an understanding of development, for example, but only in an academic sense. And so that transition from a classroom, developing within a classroom, to developing for a paying client can be a very drastic transition for a lot of our learners. And what we've done to help that is we have created a support network behind them that encourages them to engage with clients in ways that they're comfortable in ways that they find that they are able to, while always providing the NAMAL buffer to provide guidance in case they need it, to say, for example, one of our talent needs to email a client. So they come to us with an email that they've drafted. We give them pointers about, hey, include this word, do not include this word, pointers around toning, pointers around subject matter and issues of things of that nature. Additionally, our talent actively participates in any most of the discussion that we have with our clients, so they get to be in meetings with our clients, handle some of the negotiations on the technical aspects of things, while always having somewhere there to provide any additional support in case they do need to bridge that gap. As a consequence, following the completion of most of our programs, our talent have reported feeling more confident to independently go out and work with clients, as well as more confidence in taking up more leadership roles within projects that are part of, even within the NAMAL agency structure. And what that translates into is also a comfortability around navigating client communications and delivering projects for clients. Another big challenge that we've been facing is the fact that we're just a new agency, kind of figuring it out as we go. And from this, we've learned the real importance of community. We need so many people who care about the mission, and we need so many people of this varying backgrounds to provide input where needed, to provide technical support where needed, to provide one-on-one support with our talent and coaching and mentoring where needed. And this has been an amazing learning opportunity. It has shown us a lot of ways in which we can position the agency in a way that is more sustainable, in a way that is more effective in serving the context of the communities that we're trying to serve. And we've seen amazing, amazing results. A lot of challenges still sustain, especially now as we're looking to expand and we're receiving a lot more projects. But initiatives such as this report kind of lighting the way as to what sustainable employment for displaced communities can look like are a very great anchoring point for our strategy and how we envision the agency growing. We invite you to continue learning more about the agency. We have a content available online. If you do not follow our social media, please feel free to do so. I'll put some links to the description in the chat, where you can read some articles and testimonials from our talent about the work that they've done. You can read about the scale of the work that we've done. You can read about the mission and the partners involved in the work that we're doing, and you can also explore some opportunities to get involved with the work that we do. And yeah, I'm very, very happy to be doing the work that I do and happy to be part of the conversation.
Thank you. Really enlightening. And I think now, without any more delay, I want to get you to the main part of the panel where you actually hear from the talent. The talent that Alpha, Abdi, and Sonia have spoken about, those that are actually doing the work, that are representing displaced populations globally, because we want to create a system where people are judged not by the political status they have, refugee or not refugee, but by the talent that they have. So I'm really excited to have today Susan, who's one of the dev team on that first project that Abdi just described, doing the website build. Daniel, who's successfully working on the Appen platform. Appen is a micro-work platform that provides human annotated data sets to support artificial intelligence. And then Esperance, who's been one of the NAMAL cohort, but yet to begin working online. But most as importantly, our incredible moderator, Kareem, from UNHCR. Over to you, everyone, and I'm very excited about this panel. So thank you for staying and hearing this. Kareem, over to you, and guys.
Thank you very much, Lorraine. Can you just confirm that with a thumbs up that you can hear me, just since we've been having some technical difficulties today? Thank you, everyone, and thank you for your patience in getting started. Welcome and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you join us from today. It's a pleasure for me to be moderating this panel of very impressive individuals, Susan, Daniel, and Esperance. I'm sure that everyone is very excited to hear about their experience finding work in the digital economy and their experience with NAMAL's workforce readiness for the digital economy program specifically. But I would just like to take one moment before we begin the session to say that as a digital livelihoods consultant at UNHCR, one of the central tenets of our own approach here is called accountability to affected people. That is to say that much like everyone else here, we recognize the importance of designing services that really meet the needs of workers in the digital economy, particularly those that have been affected by displacement. So this is a recognition that implies that we need to be taking the time to learn from, not just design for, but learn from the communities that we work with. So events like this one that give us, as practitioners, the opportunity to really hear about the experiences from people like those on this panel, and to hear their perspectives and to learn from their experiences and inform our actions and programs in the future is incredibly important. So thank you also to Namal for putting this together. And that out of the way, I'd like to start by giving the wonderful individuals on our panel a chance to tell us a little bit about themselves and their backgrounds and their experience when accessing employment generally and in the digital space specifically. So perhaps technology permitting, we can begin first with you, Daniel. If you don't mind, maybe you can take a moment to tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what is your personal background, your educational background, and before engaging with Namal's program, what was your experience like in Kenya looking for and finding employment before engaging in this program? Please, Daniel, over to you.
Thank you very much, Karim. It's good to be here. First of all, can everyone see me? I've been having difficulties with my camera. Oh, great, thank you. I don't know why I can't see myself, but I'll take a look in the mirror later. On a serious note, though, I'm Ukech Daniel Uboa. I'm from Kakuma refugee camp. I have been a refugee for the past 29 years. I completed my secondary school education in Kakuma refugee camp, in Kakuma refugee secondary school. And after completing my high school, I immediately started working as a teacher in my previous school. And then after that, I transitioned to working as the Refugee Magazine assistant editor with Film Aid International, the Kakuma program. I managed to be part of the writers for 4 publications for the Refugee Magazine, and also edited all of the publications. I contributed in writing articles and feature stories for trying to tell stories about the refugee experiences. After that, I taught at Mona Chapelle Secondary School, girls secondary school. I taught maths and physics for 2 years, and then got a scholarship to study bachelor's in IT in Nairobi at Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology. I graduated last year, and then after my graduation, I was confident of getting a job, and that's why. And after a couple of months trying to look for jobs traditionally, I was hit by reality, and it hit me that my technical skills are not enough for me to actually get employment. And then I came across the Namal advertisements, and I immediately joined, because I knew this was an opportunity for me to improve my skills and put myself in a position to be able to get employment later. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Daniel. What an impressive and diverse background that you have. And as you can tell, Daniel also has a fantastic sense of humor that anybody would like to bring into their workplace. Perhaps we can hand over to you, Susan, also to give a brief introduction to yourself and your background and your experience in the space before joining the Namal program.
Hello, everyone. My name is Susan Church. I was born in Kakuma refugee camp, and Russia was raised there. So I completed my high school in 2018 and immediately started working for UNHCR as a primary school teacher until in 2021, when I decided I want to dive into the programming world. So I started my programming in 2021, and currently I'm a full stack developer, but majoring in game development, and also a project manager at Digital Lions.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Susan. And as you can tell, one of Susan's top skills is concision. Thank you so much. Perhaps last but certainly not least, please, Esperanza, tell us a little bit about yourself and your background and your experience in trying to find work before joining NAMAL's program. Did we briefly lose Esperanza? Could that be the case? I don't see her.
Esperance, I see you're on mute.
Ah.
Esperance? Okay,
No
maybe
worries.
let's move on.
We can move on, and perhaps if somebody can notify me if Esperance is able to make it back in a moment. But keeping with you, Susan, as Lorraine mentioned, you were one of the very first people in the program to be linked with opportunities through NAMAL. And everybody that you've worked with that I know has so much good to say about you, your skills, your motivation, and your professionalism. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience with NAMAL itself and the program, and what kinds of skills it helped you to develop, and what do you think it takes to be successful as a digital worker?
Thank you very much for that question, Karen. So when I joined NAMAL, I only had the technical skills, but that was just about it. I lacked in the soft skills like communication. That was something I was very poor in. But since I joined the NAMAL agency and learning also with them, I can confidently say that I have strengthened my skills in that area. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can still hear you.
Okay.
And Susan, if I could follow up on that, when you say that you've certainly strengthened your skills through the NAMAL program, can I ask what kinds of skills and knowledge and experience did you gain that you did not have before going through the program?
Yes. At first, I had difficulty selling my skills, like myself, talking about what I know and how I can, like pitching my skills and myself to people. But at the moment, that's not a difficulty for me. I was a lone wolf. I might say I was a lone wolf because I did not believe in teamwork. I felt like to achieve something great, then I just do it my way. But since I was involved in this remote work with Mal, it was evident that teamwork is very important because the project was very huge and it wasn't a one-man project. So I can confidently say that teamwork is very important. And it's something that I learned from Namal.
Great, thank you so much, Susan. And I can also attest that it can be quite difficult to also know how to market oneself and put oneself out there as a lone wolf. If we can briefly come back to you, Daniel, for a moment. I understand from what the colleagues were saying earlier is that you have been able to utilize your skills as a developer supporting Appen's platform. Can you tell us a little bit about that work and what kinds of work you're able to do on the platform, whether you feel that you are growing and continuing to develop those skills, and what have been some of the challenges in doing that work?
Oh yeah, sure. Working on Appen platform has been quite an interesting experience for me. In the past, over the past few months, I've had the opportunity to participate in various projects on annotating and categorizing data for different machine learning and artificial intelligence programs. Recently, I've been involved in evaluating and search result for search engine optimization projects. It's been challenging at times, but also rewarding to see my contributions help in algorithms and user experiences in that aspect. Overall, I've found the flexibility of remote work on Appen platform to be great for my schedule and also it has improved my skills in organizing myself and managing my time well. And I look forward to continuing to contributing to different projects in the future.
Great, thank you so much. I wanted to take a moment very briefly to check whether Esperance has been able to rejoin us. Esperance, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Wonderful, wonderful. That's great. So Esperance, welcome back. And perhaps you can take a moment to introduce us to yourself, your background, and your experience before joining the NAMAL program in trying to find work opportunities in Kenya.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm happy to be here. My name is Esperance, and I have an educational background in healthcare management. I also have an advanced diploma in computer electronics and engineering. Before joining NAMAL, I had an opportunity to work in the city as an office administrator. I also got other short-term jobs. I was also able to get an opportunity to work online as a translator. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Esperance. And staying with you, Esperance, I wanted to ask you, I understand that like many others, you do not have a government identification card. Instead, you have something called refugee manifest. Sonia mentioned earlier that this can cause some difficulties and problems for refugees when trying to do work. Can you tell us a little bit about why you don't have a government ID card and what is the refugee manifest, how it has been a challenge for you?
Okay. At the moment, I don't have a refugee ID card, but I have a manifest. My refugee ID card got expired, so the one I have is not valid. A manifest is a document given to asylum seekers, and it shows that they are registered. After that process, you can go on and apply for your refugee status. After you get them, you are now able, they issue a refugee card that can assist you to access some of the services, and also you can use it to get jobs. So for me, when I had an opportunity to go through an internship, my ID was expired, and the employer required that I get a valid ID, which I didn't have. So that has been a challenge for me. I'm waiting for the renewal.
Great, thank you for explaining that to us. And as we know from you and from the other participants earlier, is that there are many challenges that refugees face in particular when compared to citizens. But we do see some very encouraging developments happening in Kenya specifically. There are some new reforms, legal reforms, specifically the country's Shirika refugee plan, which is attempting to integrate camps like Dadaab and Kakuma more formally into the community and make less the restrictions for refugees in these settlements to access services. So I wanted to ask the panel, the participants, whether these changes and reforms in the government policies have been having any positive effects on you or your colleagues when it comes to finding work or accessing other services. Perhaps we can begin again with Susan, if you don't mind.
Yes, so at the moment that hasn't really had an impact on me because I started working with UNHCR and it was just within the camp. And when I stopped working with them, I moved out and I started learning. Currently, I'm working on the freelance part of it all, so it hasn't really had an impact on me yet. Unless my team members.
Sorry, Susan, I believe that we lost you for a moment there. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes. You were just speaking about your colleagues.
Oh yes, I was saying that's just about it from my side, unless it has had some impact on my colleagues.
I see.
I would allow you to continue.
Thank you, Susan. And Daniel, what about you? Have you sort of experienced any of the effects of these reforms in Kenya? Have they had a positive effect on you personally or people that you know?
Oh yeah, thank you, Karim, for the question. The impact of the reforms haven't been much of a help for me personally, but I've had friends who have been able to be assisted by the reforms. For example, one of my friends got a work permit to work in an organization in Nairobi, in a private startup in Nairobi. But all in all, accessing employment, especially in the digital realm, present a whole set of challenges. One of the challenges is the issue with legal restrictions and bureaucratic hurdles. As a refugee, often limitations in terms of work permits and legal recognition for your skills and qualifications as well. But all in all, I hope the new Refugee Act that will be introduced, the Refugee Act 2022 that will be introduced, will fast track the changes so that the impacts of all of the reforms will be felt by a good number of refugees.
Thank you very much, Daniel. And Esperanza, a chance for you also to tell us whether you feel that these reforms and changes in Kenya are having a direct effect on yourself or your colleagues.
Yes, the reforms have made an impact on my working experience, because with the previous ID, which was valid and is given every 5 years, I was able to be employed. And with that, I also acquired a Kenya revenue tax PIN. I was able to file, even if sometimes I filed nil, but it was also an improvement. I also have a friend who got a work permit, and she's working.
Fantastic. That's great that we move into from challenges to some optimism for the future. And that brings me to my last two questions, because I would like to be mindful of time. But for our esteemed panel, I would like to ask, since we have many people on this webinar who are practitioners, who themselves are interested in implementing or designing solutions to help people to find work in the digital economy, if you could give them some advice from your perspective, what would you tell them to design an effective solution in this space? So perhaps we can go down the line again from Susan. What advice would you give?
The advice I would give them is, we have refugees in the camp that have these technical skills and are very much willing to start working, but they do not have the connections to start these jobs. So I would really advise to create these job placement organizations, or even some tech hubs where they can go learn together and start applying for jobs, and like just sitting at home with these skills and not putting them into use.
Fantastic. Great advice. Thank you, Susan. And Daniel, your advice.
Thank you, Abdi. first of all, improving refugee access to digital work requires addressing several key factors, and I'll list some of them. One is the digital literacy training, as many refugees may not have had access to formal education or digital technology prior to displacement. And by providing these training programs to teach basic digital literacy skills such as using computers, navigating the internet, and also using productivity software is very essential. The second point is access to technology. In terms of ensuring refugees have access to necessary technology such as computers, smartphones, and internet connectivity is very crucial. This could involve establishing community centers equipped with computers and internet access, or providing subsidies for purchasing these kind of devices. The other point is that is language and skill development. As a good number of refugees are from francophone countries, they might not be able to communicate in the language that is best understood in the countries that they are being hosted in, and offering language courses and skills training tailored to digital job market can help refugees become more competitive in that aspect. And remote work opportunities as well. By facilitating access to remote opportunities, allowing refugees to overcome barriers related to mobility and legal restrictions. Collaborating with companies willing to offer remote work positions, or creating platforms that connect refugees with remote job opportunities can help expand their employment options as well. The other point is setting up supportive policies by advocating for policies that support refugee employment, such as recognizing their digital skills acquired in refugee camps, or providing work permits to promote work, of which it has been highlighted in the Refugee Act 2021. Legal barriers can be removed and to create a more conducive environment for refugees to access digital work. The other point is psychosocial support. It might not be in terms of giving them skills or providing them with digital skills, but it is about recognizing the unique challenges faced by these refugees, including trauma and cultural adjustments, and providing psychosocial support services, which can help them build confidence and resilience, and even motivate them to pursue digital work opportunities. And by addressing these factors comprehensively, policymakers, NGOs, and even communities can help refugees overcome barriers and improve their access to digital work, and in turn enable them to rebuild their lives and contribute positively to their host societies.
Absolutely fantastic and very, very comprehensive. Thank you very much for that advice, Daniel. And Esperanza, if you have anything to add in terms of advice that you would like to give those that are looking to help support refugees to find digital work in Kenya.
Yes, I can add something small, like to increase the learning centers where refugees can learn about digital skill and share that information as much in many areas, because some of the refugees don't have connection, they live isolated. And another point is to assist refugees and by linking them to employers, because most of them don't have a work permit, and that is a challenge. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Esperance, and thank you to all three panelists. I'm sure that if these things are addressed, not only yourselves but others will have very, very many opportunities and bright futures in the digital economy. Before we move on very quickly, I wanted to offer, in that same sense, one last chance for our panelists to say goodbye by please, in one sentence, tell us where you would like to be in 5 years. And please, we'll go the same order. And thank you very much for your time and for your unique perspectives. Please tell us, Susan.
Yes. So I have this vision of creating my own gaming company in Kakuma refugee camp, or just in the refugee camp, because personally I like playing games. I find passion in it, and I feel like there's a lot of people that would like to have the opportunity to learn how to make these games, but they haven't really gotten the chance to. So I would like to open an organization in the camp where I would train them in game development, and also when it comes to freelance and digital work.
Wonderful, fantastic, big claps. And for you, Daniel, please.
Well, thank you very much, Karim. I'm very passionate with technology. With a background in information technology, I'm currently pursuing software engineering and software development. And by that, I would like to contribute a lot in creating solutions to occurring problems in the world. For example, one of my big dreams is to have a startup that may integrate artificial intelligence and machine learning models in refugee systems and refugee processes in order to help them in being self-sufficient in terms of accessing different technologies. And I would also, apart from helping them in terms of my technical skills, I would also want to volunteer in very many activities in the camp and even outside the camp in telling refugee stories and experiences, while at it being able to help them in very many ways.
Thank you so much, Daniel. As everybody can see, there's no lack of ambition on this panel. And finally, please, Esperance, also, where would you like to be in 5 years? Let us know.
In the next 5 years, I would like to own a healthcare center where patients can access medical services remotely.
Fantastic, incredible. I'd like to, on behalf of everyone in the webinar, thank our panelists very much for your time and your perspectives, and wish you all also the best of luck in these endeavors. And in 5 years, hopefully we can do another panel and see how those plans are coming along. Thank you all so much. And back over to you, Lorraine.
Thank you all. I have to say, oh, I think I'm frozen. Can you hear me? Yeah, okay, I'm frozen. Okay. I want to say that I am inspired by each and every one of you. Esperance, a healthcare center to access remote work, for people to access remotely, so needed. So many people don't have access to healthcare facilities where they are. Very inspirational. Daniel, working more the tech set and volunteering. I'm not surprised. Thank you for wanting to do that. And Susan, gaming. My kids would love you. Amazing. I love that idea. So panel, so everyone in the audience, as you see, refugees have ambitions. We need to create a world where refugees working in the digital economy is more normalized. I want to pause for a second. Are there any questions from the audience? Any questions? Please unmute, turn your camera on, and please feel free to just ask questions.
gonna leave my camera off because of just connectivity issues.
No worries.
But hello again, Lorraine, and I'm Serena, and I have served as a mentor with NOMAL. But this session today, I got goosebumps just listening to the 5-year dreams. I'm trying not to start crying because this is really, really incredible. My one very small question is the responses. I know this is being recorded, but I would love to have a written copy of the responses that we received from the panel today to your questions. I just think that I would just love to have that. So if there's any way we can make that happen, I would really appreciate it. Thank you all so much for sharing your incredible stories.
Serena, I'll make sure we can do something about that. Don't worry. My connectivity seems to be going on and off. Any questions, anyone else? If not, I've got a question. I think it was Daniel that mentioned the importance of psychosocial support, and we know how vital this is. I'm not sure if Daniel, you can sort of talk about how this has supported you in your journey as a worker, and and in general, how has the psychosocial support you have how has it helped you?
Thank you very much, Lorraine, for the question. I'm very big on mental health. First of all, mental health is a very special aspect of our lives, and without that, our stability as human beings would be very much in jeopardy. When I was in the camp, I used to attend therapy sessions at JRS, and it helped me a lot. It helped me boost my confidence and my self-esteem in terms of relating with people. I'm a sort of person who doesn't open up as much as I want. I keep myself very close. I keep my cards very close to my chest because I used to tend to see people as wanting to take advantage of my situation. But after going through very many therapy sessions, and I have been able to be open with people, try to express myself well, and also improve my confidence in public speaking as well. And by doing that, I have taken part in very many. I've put myself in positions to be able to challenge myself and do that. And one of the ways that I've done that is by giving back to my community in terms of teaching, standing in front of students and trying to teaching them and expressing myself to them, and also being open to them, and has helped me a lot. And also as many of you might have noticed, I stutter a lot, and so all that has helped me in trying to improve my speaking in very many ways.
Thank you, Daniel. We have one interesting question from Michelle. Maybe we will put this on pause and we'll get back to you. But I want to invite Tommy to give a few words. And first of all, I want to say, before Tommy speaks, thank you, Tommy, for the support that you give in producing this report. Without you, this new report would not have happened. So thank you so much for the support that you give in making this happen. And I'll pass the floor over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone that has contributed already and those online. So I'm Tommy Järvinen, and I'm the Executive Director of Finchurch Aid, and we've been, as Lorraine said, supporting this project, but also we work together with Lorraine as part of our staff. I'm passionate about this, and if I start from the question, I think that's an advocacy piece and an issue. It doesn't relate in terms of the legal gray space. It doesn't relate only to digital work, but the rights of refugees in general to work. And we've seen in Uganda, when that right is there and when that's enabled, then it opens up an array of new opportunities. And it relates to my own experience. My career started '96 in the Rwandan refugee camps, and as a young man, 23 years old, I was shocked how a refugee situation at the time, 30 years back, can really be totally something else than what we work for. We as FCA, we say that we work for human dignity, and that was not a dignified situation at all, because people were totally depending on assistance with no sort of practical ways out to work. And I think at the end of the day, we all prefer a situation where we can influence our future and make choices, and that can be possible. So that's an advocacy issue for all of us. And somebody mentioned we need support and networks and community. Let that be one of our community top things to do. Then I hear in the discussion two sides of the coin always, like with anything. So we talk about the challenges, and definitely we need to look at the do no harm practices in terms of digital work, and there could be opportunities for taking advantage of the workers. But however, I want to emphasize that that is the situation with all work that is basically for people that have very little opportunities. So, but anyway, it's an important aspect, but it's just for us to keep in mind that in the contexts that we work, it's not only related to the digital space as such, but definitely an important aspect to it. Again, two sides of the coin in terms of gender equality. That are there accesses for usually women to access these trainings, access these spaces. On the other hand, we have experience, for example, in the Middle East, where this has really been the equaling factor, so that women who often have to stay near home or something, they have been able to participate through online means, because otherwise they would be confined where they are. So again, two sides of the coin there. Then coming to the infrastructure, it is definitely a challenge, and I hear you, and I won't downplay that at all. But that is a challenge that I see a lot of hope in. 10 years, this situation will be definitely difficult, because in this space there is such commercial interest that it will drive that development even without us, and our angles into the discussion. So I know that it will be there. I moved back from Africa 2007, and I tell you that Nairobi now is very different from Nairobi 2007 in terms of this digital access and all of that. It will happen slowly, and I see that this is something that, if I go back to '96, one of the things that I was pondering myself in Africa, in the remote areas, in refugee settlements, why is technical and vocational training nowhere to be seen? And the reason is this, that they had infrastructural challenges, because usually it had to be a school, a setting where it's very traditional. You have the walls, and that is so expensive that many of the emerging economics would never be able to build that necessary infrastructure. So I put a lot of hope in digital means, but again, there's the other side of the coin. We need to make sure that there's the quality, there is that human interaction and all of that. So, but to me, it's much more on the positive side than the negative side, because if you looked at the things, what we think about TVET being in 20, 30 years ago, the world would never be equal at all. So a lot hope in that space as well. I could go on and on, but my call perhaps is that where we see these dangers and obstacles, let's take them as opportunities to tackle, and there we need each other, and definitely into the future, digital work will be something that is there to stay, and it's coming increasingly. So it's not a choice. The choice is how do we react to it, and how do we then ensure that everybody gets on board and there is, the rights of the people are respected and so on and so forth. But very inspiring, and I have to see that somebody said that this is a dream come true. For me, this is a dream come true, and thank you for the team who has set this up for us. I think we need more discussions like this, and let's take that also on the agenda, because if people would hear these kind of messages more, and they would be called to hear from you guys who have been there in the refugee settlements and how you have stepped forward, that's the inspiring bit. So thank you so much, and I'll leave it at this.
Thank you, Tommy. As usual, completely inspirational. And I like the fact that you say to look back. And I think we always forget. We always look to where we are and never look to see the journey we have come. So I think that's a really good message for us to end as my connectivity keeps crashing. That's a really good journey for us to remember. Look how far we've come, not and also look how far we need to be, because I think the journey has just started. So thank you all. Thank you all for today. Thank you all for your time and your patience with us on the technical issues. I'm still having technical issues. So I'll end it here today. Thank you very much and see you all soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you and bye-bye.
You, bye.